Captain Alara Voss tightened the straps of her flight harness as the landing shuttle pierced Karo 7's thick atmosphere. The planet sprawled beneath them like a strange green ocean. Dense forests, jagged mountain ranges, and mist-covered valleys stretched endlessly, hiding unknown dangers in their shadows. Ilara, sensors are showing higher than normal bioactivity, Dr. Riankes said, his voice slightly tense over the comms. He was the expedition's lead xenobiologist, always cautious, always expecting the unexpected. Ilara gave a small smile. Ryan, we've been through worse. It's just a jungle planet. We land, gather data, come back, simple. But even she could not deny the strange energy she felt on this world. It hummed under her feet and crawled along the shuttle walls. It was as if the planet itself was alive, watching them. The landing was rough. Karo 7's atmosphere was thick and heavy, shaking the shuttle as it touched down. Dust and pollen swirled around the craft, obscuring the landing pad. Finally, the shuttle settled with a jolt. The hatch opened with a hiss, revealing a world both beautiful and threatening. "Welcome to Karo 7, Ilara said, stepping out first, her boots sinking slightly into the soft, mossy ground. A sweet, almost alien scent filled the air, sharp and intoxicating at the same time. The sky was a strange shade of green streaked with gold clouds. Birds or bird-like creatures soared overhead, their wings long and thin, catching the light in flashes. Jorik Dane, the team's security officer, snorted. "Looks dangerous. I expected more teeth and claws." "Don't underestimate it, Jorik," Ryan warned. "Every species we've ever seen on Deathworlds, every one, has some way of killing. Some just hide it well." Jorik waved him off. "Ah, come on. These Deathworld beasts are just stories. Old explorers exaggerating to make themselves look brave. Probably just giant squirrels." Ilara suppressed a laugh. She had heard this bravado before. Humans always did this. Mock the unknown until it reminded them who was really in charge. She wished she could share the unease she felt, but she needed the team focused. They unpacked their equipment and began a perimeter scan. Drones buzzed over the forest canopy, recording every movement. Initial readings showed strange energy signatures, low and high-level frequencies that seemed alive. Ryan's eyes widened. "These readings don't make sense. There's life here, but not like anything cataloged before. Even the smaller creatures are generating complex biosignals." Ilara nodded, feeling a chill despite the warm air. "Keep your scanners on. Let's map the area, but stay sharp. This isn't a vacation planet." As the crew ventured into the forest, the terrain grew more unpredictable. Trees twisted into impossible shapes, some wide enough to house small villages. Vines hung from the branches like ropes, swaying gently even when the air was still. Every step seemed to echo unnaturally. "See?" Jorik whispered to another crew member, pointing at a tiny, four-legged creature that scampered past. "Nothing to worry about. Cute little things. No fangs, no claws. Just a fluff ball." Ryan frowned. "Cute doesn't mean safe. On Deathworlds, appearance is the least reliable measure of danger. Predators hide. They adapt. Sometimes the most harmless-looking animal can kill in seconds." Jorik waved him off again. Yeah, Dr. Doom. Let's see this Deathworld beast then. I'm waiting." Ilara noticed that Ryan's jaw tightened. She knew he was right. Mocking this planet could be dangerous. But human nature was human nature. They laughed, took videos, and called each other names as they explored, unaware of the shadows moving just beyond their sight. Hours passed. The crew made camp near a river that glimmered with strange silver light. Ryan examined the flora, taking samples with meticulous care. Jorik sat nearby, tossing a small harmless creature into the air, catching it and laughing. Ilara walked along the riverbank, studying the reflections of the alien sky. Despite the humor and lightheartedness around her, a sense of foreboding settled in her chest. Something about Karo 7's silence felt wrong, as if the planet itself was holding its breath, waiting. Night fell. The jungle came alive with noises, chirps, growls, rustling leaves. But nothing visibly approached the camp. The humans, confident in their technology, settled around the fire and joked about Deathworld beasts in the third person, imagining huge monsters hiding in the shadows. "Imagine one of those legends shows up now," Jorik said, tossing another branch into the fire. "A 20-foot lizard with teeth like swords. I'd probably just pet it or something." The others laughed, though a few shivered, glancing toward the dark forest. Even the firelight seemed to retreat into the trees, leaving gaps of darkness that no human-made light could touch. Rian whispered to Ilara as he examined a glowing plant. "I don't like it. Something's watching us. These creatures, whatever they are, might be intelligent. The energy patterns show awareness, and if there's a predator, it's probably waiting." Ilara nodded silently. "Then we keep alert. No heroics, stick together. Mockery doesn't survive on a death world." Hours later, as the crew slept, a large shadow moved between the trees, almost imperceptible, blending with the darkness. The ground shook slightly, enough that a few crew members stirred but dismissed it as the wind. Deep in the forest, the Deathworld beast watched with eyes that glimmered faintly in the starlight. It had been observing for hours, measuring the humans' arrogance, their lack of caution. Every laugh, every careless step, every mockery of its legends only confirmed what it already knew. The humans were interesting but naive. The creature's body was immense, built for survival. Muscles rippled under tough, patterned skin, and its claws could tear through metal if needed. Yet it didn't move aggressively. Not yet. It was patient. It studied. The jungle was its domain, and it knew the humans were intruders who would soon learn respect or fear. Back at the camp, Ilara dreamed of the jungle, vivid and alive. She felt unseen eyes on her, but when she opened her eyes, nothing was there. The wind carried strange whispers, the sound of leaves moving without wind, and faint, distant roars that she couldn't place. Morning came, bright and unsettling. The crew prepared to explore deeper, taking measurements, collecting samples, and joking once again about the legendary Deathworld beasts. Ilara watched them, her unease growing. Caro 7 was beautiful, vibrant, almost inviting. But the planet had rules, and every living thing obeyed them. Mockery, she realized, would have a cost. The shadow in the forest shifted slightly as the humans packed their gear. The predator had chosen its observation point, a corner of the dense jungle where light barely touched. From there, it watched. The humans laugh, unaware of the storm that could strike at any moment. Ilara led her team into the deeper forest. The air was thick with pollen, and the ground was soft, leaving deep footprints. Every tree seemed older than time itself, and the animals they passed, though small and seemingly harmless, gave fleeting glances at the humans before disappearing into the undergrowth. "Keep your eyes open," Ilara warned. "We may be the hunters today, but on this planet that can change in a heartbeat." The humans laughed, as if mocking the very idea. And somewhere in the shadows, the Deathworld waited. Patient, silent, watching. It would not reveal itself fully today, but it had seen enough. The humans had made a mistake. They had underestimated Caro 7, and Caro 7 never forgave mistakes. The sun hung low over Caro 7's alien horizon, streaking the sky with shades of green and gold. Captain Ilara Voss led her team deeper into the forest, careful to mark their trail. The jungle around them was dense, alive with motion and sound. Strange vines twisted around trees, some moving subtly as if reaching toward the humans, while tiny creatures darted between shadows, their colors shimmering in the soft light. Jorik Dane, always the skeptic, walked a few steps ahead, whistling casually. "I'm telling you, these so-called Deathworld beasts are overhyped. We've seen nothing yet, just a planet full of big plants and weird squirrels." Dr. Ryan Kess frowned, scanning the area with his handheld bioscanner. "Jorik, these readings are not normal. The energy levels in this forest, look at this, are off the charts. It's not just life here. It's something more intelligent. Come on, Rian, you mean plants? Or maybe the squirrels. Give me a break." Jorik laughed, kicking a rock that bounced harmlessly into the bushes. Ilara held up a hand, signaling for them to slow down. She noticed the shadows moving differently among the trees, almost deliberately, almost as if something larger than the small animals was tracking them. The unease she had felt on landing returned, stronger now. "We keep scanning, we keep moving, and we stay alert," she said firmly. Mockery doesn't help on a death world, but her words fell on deaf ears. The team's laughter continued, echoing through the forest. They filmed themselves joking with small, harmless creatures, tossing them gently into the air, capturing every moment on cameras. "Look at this little guy," one crew member called out, holding up a tiny, six-legged animal that blinked slowly at them. "It's practically smiling at us." Ryan shook his head, carefully placing the creature back on the mossy ground. "Cute doesn't mean safe. Every predator starts small. Every predator adapts," Jorik smirked. Yeah, we get it. You're the voice of doom. I'm still waiting for the Deathworld beast to jump out and prove you right." Ilara sighed. "We move carefully or we don't move at all. Keep your eyes open, everyone. Even the small things can give you a lesson." The team pushed forward, guided by Ryan's readings. He noticed strange patterns in the forest. The trees seemed unnaturally spaced, as if forming corridors, and the undergrowth was denser in certain areas, almost like a natural trap. "These patterns, they're not random," he muttered. "Something is shaping this environment, either the planet or its creatures." Jorik laughed again. "Sure, the planet's alive and plotting against us. Great. Do we get badges if we survive?" Despite the jokes, Ilara's attention never wavered. She saw the subtle movements, branches bending with no wind, leaves rustling without touch, shadows that didn't match the shapes of trees. The forest was observing them as much as they were observing it. Hours passed with the crew collecting samples, recording data, and making mock videos of themselves pretending to fight enormous imaginary beasts. Their bravado was thick, but the forest's energy was growing more intense. At midday, they came to a clearing dominated by a massive tree, its trunk wider than the shuttle itself. The air around it vibrated with low hums, almost like a heartbeat. "Now this is impressive," Jorik said, approaching the tree. "I can see it now. The giant beast lives here, right? Waiting for the perfect moment to eat us?" Ryan studied the vibrations with a device. "This is a warning, not a heartbeat. The energy here is concentrated, and it's reacting to our presence. This isn't just a tree, it's part of something larger." Ilara nodded, moving her hand over her communicator. "We take measurements, we don't touch anything else. And stay together. We don't split up for jokes or selfies." Ignoring her caution, Jorik stepped closer, knocking against a thick branch. It swung violently, sending a small swarm of insect-like creatures scattering. He laughed. "Ha! Scared them off. That's what you get for hiding." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "And that's what you get for arrogance. You've just drawn attention." Ilara's warning came too late. From the corner of the clearing, something large shifted. It was subtle, barely noticeable, but the change in the shadows was enough to make her stomach tighten. The air felt heavier, denser. The forest seemed to lean in, curious and patient. Jorik noticed nothing and continued filming. "Come on, you guys. Lighten up. I want a full reel of the human squad surviving the Deathworld. This is gold," Dr. Kess muttered under his breath. If only he knew. The rest of the day passed without incident, but tension built subtly. The humans moved with bravado, but each small sound, the rustle of leaves, a distant roar, the snap of a branch, reminded them of their vulnerability. As night approached, they set up camp in a smaller clearing surrounded by thick ferns. They laughed and shared meals, mocking previous expedition reports that claimed massive predators roamed the forests. "I mean, really," Jorik said, chewing a protein bar. "If these so-called beasts exist, they're hiding really well. Or maybe they're scared of us." Ilara didn't answer. Her eyes scanned the darkness beyond the firelight. The forest was quiet now, too quiet. Hours later, as the crew slept, the subtle signs of a predator's presence became more obvious. Broken branches, enormous footprints partially hidden in the ferns, gutted remains of alien creatures, evidence that the legends were not myths. The humans remained unaware, wrapped in their arrogance. The predator, massive and perfectly adapted to Karo 7, moved with silent patience. It was neither angry nor curious, it was calculating. Every move the humans made, every laugh, every careless step, was noted. Rian woke in the middle of the night, his sensors buzzing softly. He glanced at the faint readings, his eyes widening. "Something is here," he whispered to himself. "Something big, and it's not far." Elara stirred in her sleep, uneasy but unable to wake fully. She dreamed of the forest twisting around her, alive and watchful, filled with eyes that glimmered in the dark. Something large moved just out of reach, patient, waiting for the right moment. The humans' laughter and mockery, so careless in the day, seemed a distant memory in the silence of the night. Kara 7 had begun its subtle lesson, and somewhere in the shadows the Deathworld beast had begun to prepare. Morning light broke across the forest, illuminating the dew-covered plants and strange wildlife. The humans awoke to another day of exploration, unaware of the danger that had circled their camp during the night. Jorik stretched, yawning loudly. Another peaceful night in paradise. No giant monsters, no nothing. I think this planet is just full of pretty plants. Ryan's voice was low, tense. No, Jorik, you didn't see it, but something was here. Big and intelligent. I don't know what it wants yet, but we should be cautious. Elara's eyes scanned the dense trees. We move carefully today. Watch every step. Remember, we're visitors in their world. Mockery might get us killed. The team set off again, deeper into the forest. Every crack of a branch, every rustle of a leaf seemed magnified. The forest felt alive, not just with creatures, but with intention. The humans filmed, laughed, and teased the idea of the legendary Deathworld beasts as they walked. Each joke, each careless gesture was observed by something patient hidden in the shadows, waiting. The jungle seemed to guide them toward its center, its heart, where the true predator lurked. It was massive, built for speed and strength, yet clever, capable of observing and planning. It had survived countless centuries on this hostile world, and these humans, so confident and mocking, had wandered into its territory. Elara, unaware of how close they were, felt a growing unease. She sensed that the forest had changed somehow overnight. The air felt heavier, the shadows darker, and even the small creatures behaved differently, more cautious, more silent. The predator remained hidden, blending perfectly with the trees and vines. It had no need to attack yet. Patience was its weapon. The humans had shown themselves through arrogance, and the creature learned more with each passing hour. Jorik laughed again. Come on, I'm serious. If there's a beast, it better show up now. I'm ready to make history. And in the shadows, the forest waited, silent and infinite. The forest of Kara 7 had changed. The light that filtered through the thick canopy was dimmer, green-tinted shadows stretching unnaturally across the forest floor. Captain Elara Voss led her team cautiously, her boots pressing softly into the moss-covered ground. The further they ventured, the more apparent it became that the jungle was alive in ways they had not understood before. Jorik Dane, still confident, attempted to break the tension. Relax, guys. This is just a jungle. The bigger the trees, the bigger the legends, right? He waved his hand dismissively at the dark foliage. Dr. Rian Kess shook his head, scanning the area with his sensors. I don't think you understand. These readings, they're not just life signatures. There's something enormous moving around, but it's clever. It's hiding, adapting. And it's close. Close? Jorik chuckled. Still waiting for it to jump out then. Come on, Ryan, I've got the camera ready for our hero reel. Elara stopped abruptly. The ground ahead was torn and scraped, large claw marks digging deep into the earth. Her heart sank. Everyone, look at this. These aren't small animals. These tracks, they're huge. Something passed through here recently. Jorik peered over her shoulder, his grin fading slightly. Maybe a tree fell. Yeah, that's it. Just a falling tree. Ryan knelt, measuring the tracks. His eyes widened. No, Jorik. These prints are at least 3 meters long. Whatever made them is strong, fast, and intelligent. And it's still here. The forest seemed to hold its breath as they examined the ground. Broken branches and partially crushed ferns indicated that the creature moved silently but with purpose. The humans could not hear it, but the air vibrated with faint, low-frequency pulses that made their skin crawl. Elara gestured for the team to stay close. Keep your eyes open and your voices down. Whatever made these tracks knows we're here. Despite her warning, the team's nerves were a mix of excitement and fear. They continued forward, documenting the signs of life, still hoping for a glimpse of the legendary predator. Hours passed with no direct contact, but the forest kept reminding them of its power. A branch snapped in the distance. A guttural growl, low and resonant, echoed from somewhere far beyond their vision. The small creatures that had filled the forest during the day were gone, replaced by silence. Even the birds or bird-like animals had vanished. Ilara felt a shiver crawl down her spine. "We're not alone," she whispered, more to herself than to anyone else. Rian nodded, his eyes scanning the dense undergrowth. "This planet doesn't give away its predators easily. It's testing us, measuring us, learning how we move, how we react." Jorik scoffed, though his voice lacked conviction. "Testing us? We've walked 10 kilometers. Still no monster. If it's measuring us, it's wasting its time." The team reached a small river, its water dark and reflective, disturbed by the occasional ripple that suggested unseen creatures beneath the surface. As they rested, Rian knelt and collected water samples, studying the traces of life hidden within. Ilara noticed the tension in his hands. "What is it?" she asked quietly. "The water shows traces of something large, too large to be any of the small animals we've cataloged. Something capable of swimming, hunting, and moving quietly." Jorik laughed nervously. "Well, that narrows it down, doesn't it? Big, scary, and invisible. Sounds perfect." Ilara ignored him, focusing instead on the forest around them. Shadows moved unnaturally. Leaves shifted when there was no wind. Every now and then, a rustling sound came from just beyond their sight, always disappearing before they could get a proper look. As the day wore on, the signs became harder to dismiss. The crew stumbled upon partially eaten alien animals, their bodies ripped apart with precision. Trees had deep gouges where something had tried to climb or leap. Broken rocks and crushed plants suggested weight far beyond that of a human. Ilara knelt beside one of the carcasses, examining the precision of the attack. "This creature doesn't just hunt, it plans. It studies its prey, it's intelligent." Jorik swallowed hard but tried to maintain his bravado. "Yeah, well, intelligent or not, it hasn't touched us yet. That counts for something." Rian, however, was pale. The fact that it hasn't attacked yet doesn't mean it won't. Patience is its strategy. It's learning about us. And I suspect it's enjoying the show. The sun began to dip, casting long shadows that made the forest seem even more alien. Ilara ordered the team to set up camp again, this time in a tighter perimeter. The firelight barely reached the thick trees surrounding them, and the usual forest sounds were strangely quiet. Night fell completely, and the forest became almost oppressive. Every snap of a twig made the humans flinch. The predator, hidden in the darkness, circled at a distance, analyzing, learning, waiting for the humans to make a mistake. Rian monitored the sensors obsessively. "It's close. Closer than before. Its movements are coordinated. It's not random. This isn't a mindless animal. It knows what it's doing." Ilara nodded. "Everyone stay alert. Keep the fire going and don't wander. If it's intelligent, it will notice our patterns. We have to be unpredictable, careful." Jorik sat near the fire, his earlier confidence gone. "I think I overestimated our luck," he admitted quietly. The hours passed with tension building. From time to time, they heard faint growls or rustling in the darkness. The predator did not reveal itself fully, but its presence was undeniable. Suddenly, a deep, low roar echoed through the clearing. The sound was powerful, vibrating through the ground and the human's bones. Jorik yelped and fell back, scrambling for the fire. The others froze, hearts pounding. Ilara stood, her voice calm but firm. "Stay together. Don't make sudden movements. It's testing us." The predator did not attack. It simply watched, a shadow moving between the trees just out of sight, calculating. The humans were terrified but alive. Their mockery had been met with restraint, but also with a lesson. Arrogance had consequences. Rian's scanner blinked rapidly, showing bursts of movement around the camp. "It's circling us. Not just one. There might be smaller creatures, scouts, or offspring. We need to respect its territory." Ilara's gaze swept the clearing. She realized that the humans had been intruders in a world far older and more dangerous than themselves. Caro 7 was not just a planet. It was a predator in its own right, and its inhabitants, even the largest, most intelligent ones, knew exactly how to survive. The team huddled together, tension thick in the air. They had mocked the planet, laughed at its legends, and underestimated its inhabitants. Now every rustle, every shadow reminded them that their assumptions had been wrong. Hours passed. The predator remained hidden, always at the edge of vision. Every movement it made was calculated, subtle, intelligent. It did not need to strike to teach a lesson. The humans' fear and respect were enough for now. As dawn approached, the forest began to stir with life again. But the humans had changed. The laughter, the mockery, the careless bravado, they were gone, replaced by careful observation and cautious steps. Alara gathered the team. We need to document what we've learned and proceed carefully. This forest is alive and it knows we're here. Mockery has no place in its world. Respect is our only weapon. Ryan nodded, still shaken. It's more than a predator. It's a teacher. And we've been its students whether we wanted to be or not. Jorik remained quiet, his usual sarcasm gone. He finally understood that Karo 7 was not a playground or a curiosity. It was a world that demanded attention, patience, and respect. The humans packed up and continued deeper into the forest, now aware that the predator was always near, watching, waiting. Every step was calculated, every glance measured. The lessons of arrogance were slowly sinking in. And somewhere, in the dense shadows, the Deathworld beast continued to observe, patient and intelligent, knowing that soon, the humans would have to face it directly. Karo 7 had begun to show its true face. The forest of Karo 7 grew darker as the humans pushed deeper into its heart. Massive trees towered above, their twisted branches forming almost impenetrable barriers. Vines thick as ropes hung from above, swaying slightly, though no breeze stirred the air. Every shadow seemed alive, and every rustle made the humans freeze in anticipation. Captain Alara Voss led cautiously, her eyes scanning every movement. Stay close. Stay alert. Every step counts. Dr. Rian Kess carried his sensors, his fingers dancing over the controls. The readings are spiking. Whatever's here is huge, and it's getting closer. I can feel it. It's observing us. Jorik Dane tried to hide his growing unease with humor. Observing? Oh, great. We're on a reality show and didn't even get consent forms. Alara ignored him. This is serious, no joking. If it's intelligent, we need to outthink it, not outmuscle it. The team followed a narrow path that wound through the forest, deeper into the planet's most dangerous regions. The air grew thicker, the shadows longer, and the sounds of unseen creatures more intense. Small animals darted from underfoot, some glowing faintly, almost like warnings. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the ground. Jorik stumbled, barely catching himself. Okay, that wasn't me. That was definitely not me. Ryan's face turned pale. It's large. And moving. Something very large is coming our way. Alara signaled the team to stop and crouch behind the thick trunks of nearby trees. They were in a small clearing surrounded by dense foliage, and every rustle seemed amplified. The predator's presence was undeniable now. The tension was like electricity in the air. Then they saw it. From the corner of the clearing, a shadow moved, massive and deliberate. The creature's body blended perfectly with the darkness, its muscles rippling under a tough, patterned skin. Its eyes glimmered faintly, intelligent and aware. It did not roar, did not attack, it simply watched. Jorik froze, wide-eyed. That's bigger than a building. Did it just think? Ryan whispered, voice trembling slightly. It's studying us, calculating our movements. It's intelligent, more than any predator we've encountered. Alara swallowed hard but kept her voice steady. Remember your training. We observe, we adapt, we survive. No sudden moves. Let's see what it does. The creature shifted slightly, stepping into a patch of dim light. Its size was breathtaking, its form sleek but powerful. It had strong limbs, claws capable of crushing stone, and a tail that moved like a whip. Its head was elongated, eyes sharp and aware, scanning the humans as carefully as they scanned it. Jorik whispered, barely audible. It's beautiful, in a terrifying way. Ryan adjusted his sensors. It's intelligent, strategic. It's testing us. Every movement we make, it watches. It knows our weaknesses. Alara nodded. Then we show it we can adapt. That's our strength, thinking, learning, surviving. Brute force isn't our only option. The humans began to move slowly, carefully, keeping their distance. The creature mirrored them, shifting slightly with each step they took. The tension was unbearable, every second stretching endlessly. Suddenly, a branch snapped underfoot. The sound echoed through the clearing. The predator's eyes narrowed and it crouched, preparing to move, but it did not attack. It was patient, observing, waiting for the humans to reveal their next move. Ryan whispered, It understands threat and non-threat. If we panic, it may strike. We need calm, precision, focus. Alara nodded, signaling the team to split slightly, scanning from multiple angles without leaving cover. They moved as a unit, careful not to appear threatening. The creature tilted its head, seemingly curious, its body poised to respond but holding back. Hours passed in tense observation. The humans learned more with each movement, understanding how to read the predator's signals, a flick of its tail, a shift of weight, the narrowing of its eyes. Each indicated awareness, strategy, and decision-making. Jorik finally broke the silence, voice barely above a whisper. I've never seen anything like this. Not in simulations, not in records. Nothing, and yet, it hasn't attacked. Why? Ryan shook his head. It doesn't need to. Survival is its goal, not mindless destruction. It's testing our intelligence, our adaptability. Ilara made a decision. Then we prove ourselves. We move carefully toward the river. Document, observe, and retreat if needed. Show that humans can learn and survive, not just dominate. The team advanced, keeping low and synchronized. The predator followed, maintaining a distance but always aware. It seemed to anticipate their moves, guiding them subtly through the forest without interference. When they reached a wide, slow-moving river, the humans paused. The water reflected the dim green sky, disturbed by occasional ripples that suggested unseen creatures below. The predator remained in the shadows, partially hidden, observing the humans as they collected samples and measurements. Ryan whispered, "It's letting us take these samples. It's testing our caution and respect. This is incredible. It's not aggression, it's interaction." Jorik finally swallowed his fear. I think it's teaching us something, like a test we didn't even know we were taking." Ilara nodded. "Exactly. And we pass by staying alert, cautious, and smart. We don't mock, we adapt." Suddenly, the creature moved closer, emerging fully into the clearing. Its sheer size made the humans freeze. Every muscle was defined, its eyes focused, tail moving in slow, deliberate arcs. For the first time, they could see the full power and elegance of Karo 7's apex predator. Rian whispered, This is beyond anything recorded. It's magnificent," Ilara signaled, calm. "Do not provoke it, observe, take notes. Respect it. That's how we survive." The predator studied them for long moments, tilting its head, sniffing the air, measuring them. Then, slowly, it circled the clearing, keeping them in its sight. Its movements were deliberate, precise, a display of intelligence and control. It was not merely surviving, it was teaching. Hours passed, and the humans learned quickly. The creature did not attack but showed signs of strategy, almost like a game of chess. They realized that brute strength alone would not dominate Karo 7. Observation, intelligence, and adaptation were equally, if not more, important, Ilara finally whispered. "We retreat slowly, maintain awareness, and respect its boundaries. This encounter is a lesson, not a battle." The team moved backward cautiously, collecting their samples and avoiding sudden movements. The predator followed silently, never breaking its gaze. They returned to the trees at the edge of the clearing, hearts pounding but minds racing with awe and respect. Jorik finally muttered, I get it now. We mocked it and it didn't need to strike. It just showed us who's in charge, and it's smarter than we thought." Ryan nodded, still scanning the creature. "It's a teacher as much as a predator. We survived because we adapted. Next time, arrogance will not save us." Ilara looked back at the clearing where the predator now stood partially hidden among the trees. Its eyes glimmered, intelligent and patient. They had seen its power, its strategy, and its wisdom. They had survived not by dominance but by learning, respecting, and adapting. The humans finally moved further back, deeper into the forest, hearts racing but minds enlightened. They understood that Karo 7 was alive, not just with creatures but with intelligence, with lessons for those who dared to enter its heart. The predator did not follow beyond the edge of the clearing. It had tested them, observed them, and taught them without violence. Its presence lingered like a shadow, a reminder that the jungle was not a playground, and that survival on a death world required respect, intelligence, and courage. Ilara spoke quietly, almost to herself as the team regrouped. "This is what it means to be human on a death world. Not just to survive, but to learn, adapt, and earn respect. That's how we thrive." The team continued their journey, forever changed by the encounter. Karo 7 had revealed itself, not as a mindless threat, but as a challenge, a teacher, and a test of human ingenuity and courage. And somewhere in the shadows of the dense jungle, the apex predator watched, patient and proud, knowing that humanity had earned a single victory, not through force but through intelligence and respect. The forest of Karo 7 was quiet, yet heavy with presence. Captain Alara Voss led her team through the thick undergrowth, careful not to disturb a single leaf unnecessarily. Each step was deliberate. Each sound was studied. The lessons of the previous encounter were etched into their minds. "Stay close," Alara whispered, glancing at the team. Their usual chatter had vanished, replaced by cautious focus. Even Jorik Dane, who had mocked the Deathworld beasts just days ago, moved silently, his eyes scanning every shadow. Dr. Rian. Kess adjusted his sensor pack, his hands steady despite the tension. "The readings are lower now," he said softly. "It seems the Predator has returned to its territory, but the energy, it's still watching us, almost like it's approving our caution." Alara nodded. "We've learned to respect it, not challenge it. That's the key to survival here. Intelligence and patience will keep us alive." The team continued, retracing some of their earlier paths while mapping areas they had not explored. The forest seemed calmer, yet no one felt completely safe. Karo 7 was alive, its life forms more advanced and aware than any human imagination had predicted. Hours passed. The humans found small signs of other creatures. Herbivorous animals grazing peacefully, glowing insects hovering like floating, lanterns and alien plants swaying slightly as if breathing. The forest was vibrant, but beneath the surface it held countless dangers. Jorik finally spoke, his voice low and thoughtful. "I think I get it now. It wasn't trying to kill us. It was testing us, making sure we could handle being here." Ryan nodded. "Exactly. Most of the Deathworld legends exaggerate the danger, but the lesson is always real. You either respect the planet and its creatures or you fail, and failure can be permanent." Alara felt a surge of pride for her team. They had faced fear, uncertainty and intelligence far beyond what they were trained for. And they had survived. Not by strength alone, but by learning, adapting, and respecting the rules of the world they had entered. As they moved deeper into the jungle, they came across a massive cliff overlooking a valley that stretched for kilometers. Waterfalls cascaded from jagged peaks, forming rivers that shimmered with silver light. The scene was breathtaking, almost serene, yet it reminded them of the predator that watched from the shadows. Alara crouched beside the cliff edge, observing the valley. "This planet isn't just dangerous," she said quietly. "It's alive in every sense, and it's teaching us to survive, not just to exist." The team set up a temporary observation camp at the cliff. They documented the landscape, the wildlife, and the ecosystem's intricate balance. Every creature, from the tiniest glowing insect to the massive predator, played a role, and the humans, they realized, were now part of the story, learning the rules rather than breaking them. Night fell again, and the team remained alert. Unlike before, the forest noises no longer caused immediate fear. They had learned to interpret the sounds, understanding subtle cues that indicated the presence or absence of danger. Suddenly, a soft rustling came from the edge of the clearing. The humans froze, remembering the lessons of the previous encounter. Out of the shadows emerged the predator, not rushing or attacking but moving with deliberate purpose. Its eyes glimmered with intelligence, reflecting the soft light of the moon. Jorik swallowed hard. It's back. But it's different somehow," Ryan whispered, awestruck. "It's observing us. It knows we've learned respect. It's not aggression this time, just acknowledgement." Alara kept her posture calm, steady. "Do not make sudden movements. Let it see we've adapted. This is the moment that defines whether we belong here." The predator circled slowly, each step measured. Its massive form glided over the forest floor silently, but its presence was commanding. The humans could feel its awareness, its intelligence, and its judgment. Then the creature stopped near the edge of the clearing, looking directly at them. There was no threat, no malice, only understanding. For a long moment, human and predator studied each other, a silent communication passing between them. Finally, the predator turned and retreated into the forest, its massive tail sweeping the ground. It disappeared into the shadows, leaving the humans with a sense of awe and respect. They had passed the test, not by defeating it, but by demonstrating intelligence, patience, and humility. The team remained still for several minutes, absorbing the significance of the encounter. Jorik finally whispered, I get it. We mocked the legends. We thought we were untouchable, and we almost weren't. But we learned, and it respected that. Ryan nodded slowly. This is what humanity is at its best. We survive by thinking, adapting, and respecting life around us. Not by dominance, but by understanding. Ilara looked at her team, pride swelling in her chest. We've earned more than survival. We've earned respect from this planet, from its creatures, and from ourselves. That's the lesson of Karos 7. The following days were spent documenting and exploring further, but the humans moved with newfound caution and awareness. They learned to read the forest, understanding subtle cues in the behavior of animals and the environment. Every step, every sound, every shadow held meaning. Despite the fear and tension, there was also wonder. The forest was alive in ways humans had never imagined. They observed the complex social interactions of small creatures, the intelligence of predators, and the harmony of the ecosystem. Karos 7 was not merely a dangerous planet. It was a living, thinking world capable of teaching lessons in subtle, profound ways. Ilara reflected on their journey. They had arrived with arrogance, mocking the so-called Deathworld beasts, believing their technology and courage would protect them. But they had been humbled. They had learned that survival required more than strength. It required intelligence, adaptability, and respect for life beyond humanity. Jorik spoke quietly as they prepared to leave the forest. I used to think humans were the smartest species in the galaxy. Maybe we are, but only if we remember lessons like this. Only if we respect what we don't understand. Ryan smiled faintly. Exactly. That's the essence of humanity on a death world. Courage without wisdom is useless. Intelligence without respect is dangerous. Combine the two, and you survive, and even thrive. Ilara nodded, gazing at the jungle one last time. Karos 7 has shown us what it means to be human in a world far older and more dangerous than we are. And it has reminded us that arrogance can be fatal, but humility and adaptability are powerful weapons. The team returned to their shuttle, carrying samples, recordings, and the knowledge that they had faced one of the galaxy's most intelligent predators, and survived. They were changed not just by fear, but by the lessons of respect, strategy, and understanding. As the shuttle lifted off, the forest receded below them. From the dense shadows, the predator watched silently, its massive form blending with the trees. It had tested the humans, observed their reactions, and acknowledged their learning. The apex predator of Karos 7 did not attack or destroy. It had taught patiently and wisely, the way it had survived for centuries. Jorik whispered from his seat, staring at the canopy below. I'll never mock another death world again. Not on this planet, not anywhere. Ryan nodded, still monitoring the readings. Nor should we. Respect is what ensures survival. Karos 7 just proved it. Ilara, her eyes fixed on the horizon, spoke softly, yet with authority. Humanity has survived countless challenges, but every world is different. Every creature has its rules. Today we learned one of the galaxy's oldest truths. To thrive, you must adapt, respect, and think beyond arrogance. The shuttle ascended, leaving the forest behind, but the lessons of Karos 7 remained etched in their minds. Every rustle of leaves, every shadow in the corner, every intelligent glance of a predator reminded them that they were not invincible, but they were capable of greatness if they learned, adapted, and respected life beyond themselves. The forest faded into the distance, but the humans knew they would never forget the apex predator that had emerged from the corner, silent, patient, and wise. It had shown them that true strength was not measured in weapons or brute force, but in courage, intelligence, and the humility to respect life in all its forms. And as the shuttle left Karos 7 behind, the humans were not just explorers. They were students of the galaxy, carrying lessons that no book, no legend, and no mockery could ever teach. Karo 7 had earned their respect, and humanity had earned a single precious truth. The universe was bigger, wiser, and far more alive than they had ever imagined.